Hi there, Pretty Plant Girl here. It's the 25th of March and I'm about 8.5 weeks out from my average last frost. I live in Saskatchewan, Canada. I have 110 days of approximately frost-free days in my growing area. And so I need to plant a lot of my flowers and vegetables out a little bit earlier indoors in order to get them to maturity at the end of the growing season. So today I'm going to be planting a couple of plants, three plants from seed. Two I've never grown before, one I have. And I think even though you might find on the packages that some of these could be started more at like 4 to 6 weeks, in your area they maybe can, or even direct sown in the spring. I am thinking, by looking around and researching, that these plants might be better for me to start just a little bit sooner indoors because of their maturity times. And so that's what I'm going to be trying with them this year. So what I have is Yarrow. These seeds were all purchased from Stems Flower Farm. Not affiliated with them, just where I decided to try them from. It's a Canadian company. So this is Yarrow. It's Summer Berries Yarrow. And this is just a nice mix of soft colors. I think there's a few brighter kind of pinks in there, but mostly it's like corals, and I think there's some pale yellows, some creams, and then just a little pop, is my understanding, you know, with a few of the brighter pinks in there. I thought these would be nice to grow. I have Yarrow growing in my native plants area in my front yard. Most of it is yellow or white, and I thought some more Yarrow would be nice, maybe hopefully in a variety of colors that I can use in flower arranging. Yarrow has a tendency when it self-seeds to go back to its wild form, which I believe is the white. And mine, like I said, I have some yellows in there too, so maybe some yellows. So I just need to pop in a bit more color with that. So that's what that's going to be. So I'm going to plant 9 in this little cell pack. Now I'm not sure, like I said, I'm 8.5 weeks from my average last frost, so these might need to get bumped up before they go outside, because it's a perennial plant and I think it'll get a pretty robust root system. Normally I would plant Yarrow like outside in the fall, and then I would seed it in the fall and then let it just come up in the spring. But I want to get this, hopefully so I can get some flowers right this year on it. So that's why I'm doing it inside this way. And then I have Love in a Mist. Nigella is another word that you might be familiar with for this plant. And this one is Delft Blue. This has just some amazing deep purple flowers. The seed heads are really interesting, and they can both be used, the flowers and the seed head, in flower arrangements. So I think it'll be a really nice one for that. Again, I'm going to do about 9 plants of that, and I'll probably do some more outside later just to see the difference. And then I have Globe Amaranth, is the QIS lilac, is the color. Gomphrena is another name for it, so you might be familiar with that name. It has really papery looking kind of flower. They're actually bracts, little leaf bracts, but they look like flowers that are kind of round, almost like little lollipops or little drumsticks. The flowers are actually in between those little bracts. But they're just a really sweet little plant that I think would be nice to add some flowers, just some little pops through flower arrangements. I think they'll just be nice little accents. And they're supposed to grow pretty well, so we'll see how it goes. So yeah, these say they're like an 85 to 100 day maturity. So in a cold, shorter season, I'm supposed to start them inside 6 to 8 weeks before my average last frost, and then plant them outside after all risk of frost. I think I'm going to do 18 of the Amaranth, because from what I looked at when kind of researching this plant, I think the way the stems grow, you'll need 1 stem to get 1 flower to get the best look in a bouquet. They do put out side shoots, but it sounds like those side shoots don't do well in bouquets. So I think a few more plants might be necessary. So, and I think there's enough seeds to do that. So that's what I'm going to do with those. So I'm going to do 9 Yarrow, 9 Love in a Mist, and 18 of the Amaranth or Gomphrena. So let's get started. first thing I'm going to do is just fill all these trays up with some soil, and then I can get this big bucket out of the way. This bucket just has my growing medium in it, and it's just a pots and plants potting soil that I've picked up last fall. I've actually sterilized it, not something I normally do, but I found it had a lot of fungus gnats in it. So to sterilize it, I've just microwaved it for a large batch like this for about 15 minutes in my microwave. Now I keep it outside so some of it was frozen. You wouldn't need to microwave it that long if it wasn't frozen. And I'm just going to fill these trays up with it. Oh, and I've added perlite. So just, I don't know, I just add the perlite till it has this kind of look to it. It's not very scientific. I find these chalk markers work well. I purchased these at Walmart, I believe. And then the plant tags are from Amazon. I think any chalk marker would work. Once they're dry, they're just fine to put in with your plants, and I spray water on them. I had some, used them on labels outside last year. They worked fine. You just want to give them a chance to dry off before you start using them, pushing them into the soil. And then they wipe off really well, so you can reuse the labels. So these labels I've used for several years, and I use acetone to get off permanent marker, and you can see it doesn't always do a great job on that. So to be able to use a chalk marker on them is really nice because it cleans off and I can reuse them. So I think I might purchase some more of these colorful labels for next year. And then they shouldn't get so discolored. And they'll look nice for years, I think, using the chalk marker. That's just my thoughts on labels and markers to label with, I guess. So here's our seeds. Now I have a whole tray here, so what I want to do is I'm actually going to put just a little bit of water in this tray, and then the soil can be soaking up the moisture because the soil was dry. So these trays can be soaking up the moisture while I'm planting them. As long as I don't drop the seeds into the water, we're good. And then I can move these trays into another space with a humidity dome after that. I think I'll start with the Amaranth. For planting these, that I want them about 1/8 of an inch deep, so just lightly covered is what I take from that. So get the seeds out here. The seeds kind of want to stick to one another. There's a couple there. So they're kind of similar in size and look even to a tomato seedling. Well, not look, I guess, but in size to a tomato seed. So I'll probably wind up putting two, whoops, if I can, they really stick to each other. They're almost like Velcro-y. Try and do about 2 in each spot here. So I'm not sure what the germination rate is like for these. And it looks like there's lots of seeds. So I'm just going to give them each a little pat just to make sure they have contact with this soil that I'm planting them in. I'm just going to put a really fine sprinkle of soil on top. And I can already feel the moisture soaking up from the bottom of this plant tray, and this is starting to get nice and moist, so that's great. Now that I have them covered, I'm going to just put a light sprinkling of vermiculite on top, and that will just help to retain the moisture in the soil surface and prevent fungus growth and things like that from happening. So now I'm going to plant the other two. Now, the Yarrow and the Love in a Mist both require light for germination. So there's a little bit of a stick on there. We don't want that. So what I will do is just surface sow them. I'll put a very, very fine layer of vermiculite on top, and then they'll all just go in another planting tray with the humidity dome on top, and they're under grow light, so they'll grow really well. So I'm just going to plant these other two. Otherwise, it's going to be the exact same way, just setting a couple of seeds on top of the soil surface. So the Yarrow, it looks like I don't have a lot of seeds. So that's the Yarrow seeds. Very small. So Love in a Mist. Okay, so I have all of those flowers planted, all their seeds are planted up now, and they're ready to go, like I said, just under my grow lights, just because these two need light to germinate, and it's a nice warm place, which I think they'll all enjoy, and I'll make sure they're under a humidity dome as well to retain the humidity and keep the surface moist while they're germinating. Once they have germinated, about 80% is what I usually wait for, I will remove the humidity dome and let them just grow on that way. One thing to note is from the research that I've done, well, and I know with the Yarrow, if you keep cutting it, it will keep providing new flowers all season long. If you stop cutting it, it will produce seed heads, which are beautiful as well. But it'll stop producing as many flowers. It'll be very sporadic. The Globe Amaranth is supposed to just continually keep producing flowers. Now, I'm not sure if you didn't cut on it, if it would just go to seed. But the flower heads, which like I said are actually bracts, they dry. They're kind of like a paper daisy, if you've seen those, in their looks. And so they kind of dry, is my understanding, right on the stem. And so they still look like nice flowers and they're still usable. That way is my understanding. Like I said, I've never actually grown them and used them myself yet. So we'll find out. The Love in a Mist, a lot of sources that I looked for information recommend sowing new plants every couple of weeks. So I may do up another tray here about the middle of April, and then a direct sowing in the ground in early May when I'm or mid-May when I'm planting these out. We'll see how that goes, how much room I have, and how these are growing for me, where I go with that. But that's my plan for now. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.